Hi, my name is Danielle. I'm a voice and piano teacher living in North Hollywood, California, and I've been teaching private music lessons as well as directing choirs and working in the entertainment industry as a performing artist for the last 20 years. I currently teach voice and piano lessons over Zoom as well as in person in my home studio. I think it's really important when choosing a music teacher for yourself or your child that you get a sense of their teaching philosophy or teaching style and that it aligns with how you best learn and your goals in taking music lessons. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my teaching philosophy and what I think makes a great piano and voice teacher. So one of the most important things that I think a teacher can have for being a good teacher is to love teaching. You think that was a no-brainer, but I have plenty of colleagues who have just gone into it because they have a degree and they want to perform and it's a good way to have a flexible schedule, and it's just something they're very qualified for, but they don't really like it. And that's hard for me to understand because I've been teaching for a long time and I've always loved teaching. And I'm trying to think about exactly why do I love teaching? Well, I love working one-on-one with people. I love getting to know people as individuals and understanding them. And I love helping them find in themselves the wonderful feelings that I get as a performer when I work hard on something and then I get to go share it with the world, or when something really touches me emotionally and I get to perform it, or even just do it for myself. I love being able to help people express their creative dreams. A lot of times that's what I get to do. And with kids, I get to help them discover who they are. And I enjoy that immensely. Another thing that I think about when I'm teaching a student is that I don't just want to give them lessons in music for the thing they say they want right now. So if it's a child, maybe they want piano lessons, they want to get good at piano, or if it's an adult, they want to prepare a song for someone's wedding that they're going to sing at. There's some specific goal, and I do prepare them and teach them what's necessary to achieve the goal. But I have a big experience of musical life and all these possibilities in my background that's brought me so much joy. And I really hope that the music education, the foundations of musical concepts that I'm imparting, and the method of facing one's own roadblocks, shall we say, and overcoming them is a method that will help people in any sort of performing arts or creative endeavor that they pursue from now on. So that's one thing that's really important to me, is giving my students something that they can take in any other form of art entertainment. So what I mean is, like someone taking piano lessons, I try to give them an understanding of how to learn a piece of music, and this goes for voice lessons as well, how to break it down, where to start, how to make it bite-sized, master each little small section, which things to focus on first, and then the next layer and the next layer and the next layer until you get a fully fledged, compelling performance. And that method could be taken and approached to a play, to acting on camera, to playing soloing instruments or any other instrument, or playing in an ensemble. And I do imagine, especially with my kids, that maybe they're not going to be pianists forever. Maybe when they're teenagers or when they're in their 20s or some other time, they're going to pick up a guitar, or they're going to decide they want to play violin, or they're going to want to be in a band, or they're going to want to be in an orchestra, or like anything. And my goal is that the musical foundation and the steps for learning music that they got from me is going to make them feel at ease and comfortable in whatever creative endeavor they pursue. Another important component of my teaching method is that I try to teach with the Socratic method, which is that I focus on asking my students questions as opposed to just telling them information. And I think this works for both kids and adults really well in different ways. For children, I feel like when I just tell them a definition or a thing, we're learning this lesson in this song today, it just goes right out the window. But if I ask them, what does the book say? Can you read it to me? What do you think that means? And I get them thinking and talking, boom, they're gonna get that much quicker. And it's gonna mean a little more to them because they got the answer or they figured it out. Another reason I like this method instead of just telling people, here are the rules, is that when I studied music, and I started as a child and I never stopped, a lot of the rules were sort of like algebra to me, where they seemed arbitrary. And the more the less of an explanation that I received for like why keys are like this, and why is it in Italian, and why do we do it this way? Why do we call it these terms? All the whys, when I didn't get those questions answered, it took me a lot longer to accept the lessons and to accept the facts. But when I got a sort of background of, well, this is why it is the way it is, or here's maybe some of the sort of the science behind it, or the history, or like the etymology, that made things stick for me, and that made things make sense, or at least I didn't just feel like someone was just throwing a bunch of rules on me that I was just supposed to arbitrarily march along and follow. And I try to give my students the same sort of background that I would have liked if they want it. You know, it's pretty obvious, the kids who are like really interested in the why of things, and the ones who are just like, okay, that makes sense, and we don't need to go into an explanation. But for the ones that are kind of like, I don't get this, why are you telling me this, or this doesn't make sense to me, I like to go in and really answer those questions for them, and then we can both kind of be like, okay, so we get why we're doing this. Maybe it's annoying at first, but it's going to get easier, and having that why answered is, I think, really helpful. Another really important component of my teaching philosophy is based in my many teachers. So I have a master's degree in music performance. I have a bachelor's from UCLA in music history. I studied music since I was 8, piano, voice, choir, musical theater. I was even in a marching band at one point. I've been in a lot of different musical ensembles, done a lot of solo study, and done a lot of performing. And what I've realized about all art is that there really isn't a right way and a wrong way for anything. What there really is the way that makes it easier for you, the performer, and the way that can make things more difficult, more tension, more complicated. So a lot of the rules that we give to beginning students, especially, you have to do these warm-ups, you have to use your fingers in this way, you have to approach the keyboard in this way, you have to breathe this way, stand this way. If you put it all out there like that, it can create a lot of tension itself, because you're creating this framework of like right and wrong, and don't be wrong, be right. And that's actually not what it's about. All those rules is about making it pleasant for you and fun, actually, for you, the performer. So we want to frame it that way, that, my ears are highly trained. That's what you're paying me for. And it's important. My feedback is important, but my feedback isn't like, please the teacher, do it my way because I said so. It's really important to me that my students understand that what I'm offering with my feedback isn't a criticism. It's a way to make things easier and more fun in the long run. Sometimes in the short run, it's really obvious the change, but other times it is a lot of hard work in the present. And that's actually a great thing about music lessons, especially for kids, about learning how to confront obstacles and slowly chip away at them by breaking things down into bite-sized pieces, and then mastering each small component and putting it back together. And oh my gosh, now you can do it. And that's really exciting. But also the way you do it is important. And that's feedback that I'm giving usually, and corrections. And we don't want that to feel like a criticism, because it really isn't. It's about learning the most fluid and easy way, whether it's for singing or piano technique, or just even learning to note read. It's about making the whole process faster, easier, more relaxed, so that you can play the piece the way you play it in your dreams, or sing it in your dreams, and have a really nice time when you do perform, even for yourself. And a final thing that I think is really important when you're looking for a teacher, and this is just my personal opinion, it's that your teacher has an extensive performing background, because ultimately we're talking about a performing art. And maybe you don't want to be a professional performer. That's perfectly acceptable. In fact, maybe it's a good thing. I don't know. But you do want to be able to share your music. You do want to be able to feel comfortable doing that. And a lot of kids and a lot of adults are actually seeking out music and piano and voice lessons because they have a dream and they have a goal of performing in front of people. And there are a lot of teachers out there, teachers that I have even followed extensively, like on social media, on YouTube, watched their videos, been like, wow, they're amazing. And then when I finally tried to track down their own performing and their resume, I found nothing, or I found like a few videos that they made at home, and they weren't very good. And so I realized, there's a lot of people out there, there's a lot of teachers out there who never really became performers, and they just became teachers, and they kind of built a following because they're delivering good content teaching, but they don't actually have the proof behind their methods, even for themselves. There's a whole layer of lessons that is about presentation or emoting, expression, and stage presence and stage fright, or even just the industry of auditions for various ensembles, various programs. And you want a teacher who can guide you through all of those scenarios, whether it's I have to sing at an event, or I want to sing, or I want to record my own music, or I want to audition for the school musical or the school play, any of that stuff. You want a teacher who's teaching you how to do that stuff, that also understands what it's like to be in front of the audience and has had those experiences. And that's one way that I think I really shine as a teacher, because I've been performing since I was 5. And I've never stopped. And I've had a very broad background of a lot of different experiences that I really treasure the broadness of the performing life that I've gotten to lead, where I've tried a bunch of different things. And that's really informs my teaching with a lot of just depth in how I can share my understanding of what it's going to take for different scenarios for performing. So as you can probably tell, I have lots to say about teaching music and my teaching philosophies and music educations and piano and voice lessons. If you have any questions you'd like to discuss with me, please contact me or drop me a line wherever this video is posted. And feel free to also reach out if you're interested in piano or voice lessons for you or your child. I would love to discuss that with you, your needs, and also schedule a demo lesson if that's what you're interested in.